My daddy was a ragtime trombone player. My mammy was a ragtime cowboy. Then that one day out of tango kid, there was a single little wind.
Descent into darkness. A Call of Cthulhu campaign. Hello and welcome back to Deathwatch's Call of Cthulhu campaign, Descent into Darkness. This is episode 19, and I am Keeper Travis. We return to the night of March 17th, where the conspiracy of serpent folk has been unmasked. But before we get into it, let's get an introduction from our investigators.
I'm Brandon. I'll be playing Bartholomew Wentworth, a man who's just caught someone he suspects of being a lizard person. And I'm also a man who's missing the taste of fresh beef.
Okay. I'm Chris. I'm playing Charles Stanton. I got an itchy trigger finger.
I'm John playing Joseph Thompson, who may have acted too rashly.
Uh-oh.
The lizard folk are our friends. Everybody knows that.
Uh-oh. Say the words.
They could be, if you but extend your hand, Mr. Thompson. So Adimu has fled into the night, somewhere outside your tent. She's in the process of fleeing. Mr. Wentworth has Ibrahim, wrestled him to the ground. He's pretty much captive there, although you guys haven't quite gotten to the stage where you've tied him up or lopped off his limbs or anything like that. And
I got a big knife.
the rest of you who are in that tent, which I believe is Mr. Wentworth and Mr. Stanton, of course, is your tent, are in varying states of shock or disbelief or perhaps excitement. Yes, I can kill. Don't even have to feel bad about a human dying. So anyhow, Ibrahim's there. So let's start with just a basic spot hidden roll from Mr. Wentworth. Well, the whole tent can make it. You just don't need a fumble in order to succeed at it, but the rest will need hard success.
Well, I didn't fumble. I got a success.
And I hardly succeeded?
Yeah, so once you're aware of the phenomenon of their shadow casting a different shape, you can pick it out a little bit better. But the effect for those who aren't aware or those who can't quite believe it if they're told, which I don't even know if you've told anybody really yet, besides perhaps Mr. Thompson.
Yeah, just Thompson.
Is that if you're not specifically looking for it, your brain kind of fills in the gaps. It's kind of like if you take a word and keep the beginning and last letter the same, but rearrange all the letters in between, your mind still reads it somehow. It's when you look at it, you're like, obviously, I can see the truth of Ibrahim.
I'll shout it out immediately.
I see the truth.
How could we have been so blind?
And same with Joseph Thompson, although this is good conditions for it because you are in a tent with the sole light source being, the lantern or whatever you have in there.
The tent post.
And a nice backdrop a white backdrop, canvas backdrop to make the stark shadow,
Yeah.
Whereas when you're on the trail with the caravan, you have collections of camels and the sun at angles making shadows long and stretched, so difficult to tell, even though you were looking for it. But yes, there you are. You have him down, and he's calm and just sort of looking at each of you with a guarded expression. And there's a moment, like there's a few beats, but then Vincent, was that his name? Victor pokes his head in your tent, and he's like, "Is everything all right, Senor?" Asking you, Mr. Stanton.
No, it appears we have a little problem. Gather a couple men and see if you can find Ibrahim's missus. Be careful when you find her. She's dangerous.
So he nods, and you hear him hustling away from the tent. Although there are some shouts going up, and you hear the higher-pitched screams of a woman, like shrieking. Although you're sort of focused, you don't quite hear the words except with a listen roll.
Actually, I forgot. Could that have been my chance to have given pursuit instead? Like, go Vincent, follow me?
If you want to, yeah.
Because I'd rather would have done that.
Yeah.
My initial thing was to give pursuit, but we quit last week.
So Dr. Andrews reaches across time and space and tweaks the universe you're on, the dimension you're on here, to a slightly different one where Stanton gathers up Victor Andrade.
Well, I keep forgetting I gotta stay true to what Stanton would do and not what I would do. And Stanton would go charging off into the night to try to shoot a woman.
Right. All right. So they leave the tent in a hurry after a demu. Let's stay in the tent for a while longer, where Mr. Thompson and Mr. Wentworth hold this apparent serpent person hostage. What is the next thing that occurs in the tent?
Joe, get something to bind him.
Let's all look around, and
Yep.
do I see anything that can be used?
Give me a luck roll.
I be in Stanton's tent, I would imagine. There's all sorts of...
He leaves all his bondage equipment at home
Might
for him and the
actually
missus.
Might actually have manacles. All you see is a handmade quilt.
Has failed on that luck roll.
Okay. Well, you have things like on your person that you could use, like a belt, or you could grab a piece of clothing or a blanket and fashion some sort of bonds out of it if you wish. What am I looking for?
I'll use a belt and some clothing. So I'll take some shirts or something and tie his hands individually using or double up the sleeves, tie it up, and then use the belt to wrap up his arms.
Yeah, get
by
his
the
feet
wrist.
too. And if you so much as breathe wrong, lizard.
Groin to sternum.
I'll tie his shoelaces together, and
Chinese finger trap.
yeah, no, I'll do the same with his feet. If there's another belt about, from Stanton's bondage gear, then I'll use that. But if not, then I'll just use some like a couple shirts or something to try and strengthen it.
Real men wear suspenders, Thompson. There are no belts in my tent.
Yeah, let's get a luck roll from both of you here.
What's this belt
Another
then,
one?
Stanton? Oh, haha, luck's on my side.
And then we'll need you to pass a hard constitution, Mr. Thompson. Hard constitution roll.
What's the push?
Okay, so it's possible you might be under the effect of some sort of drug that might make you more amenable to any suggestions you might receive from a serpent person. And so that's what would happen if you fail. What would make that even worse? Any ideas?
I'll
Well, it's a constitution. His immune system could be shot from the snake bite that's already kind of coursing through him.
I'll just
Resurgence of
use
that, maybe?
luck.
I don't know. Just use luck. That's
All of it.
You need a hard, so you needed to spend 32 luck? Good
Yes.
Lord, that's all you have. I think you have to leave one. But if you're willing to burn it down to one, I'll give... Oh, you're not going to?
Maybe this time after the session I'll actually fail my luck roll instead of just while we're playing, but...
That's when you crit it every time.
Yeah. I'll do it, as it's important enough that I think we capture these lizard folk.
You will doom the party if you do this, John.
Okay. All right. So he's been passive and silent as you're going about binding him, and he makes an attempt, hoping that you are under the influence of some drug, and he just says, "Is this really necessary?" And that was you're supposed to be like, "Well, I don't think it is." Right? But it didn't work out that way.
No, I think this is pretty dang necessary.
Yeah, this is absolutely necessary. Yeah. Quiet, lizard folk, and backhand him.
Yeah, his head snaps back as you backhand him, but still passive and patient. And is it just somebody being patient, or is it the patience of a snake as it lies in wait to strike? But you guys do have him bound up now.
Freak makes my skin crawl.
And do we want to leave him there, or maybe bind him up into the chair?
Yeah, I don't want to take my eyes off him for a second. So, yeah, let's tie him to something more permanent. A chair would be good, I guess.
Okay. And
Do you think that they're venomous?
We'll find out.
I don't know.
I'll ask him. Are you venomous? How long have you been? How did you come to look human?
He's considering answering your question, sort of looking at you, wondering what play will be the correct one here. What's your approach in this sort of interrogation? Are you being civil or trying to intimidate?
Yeah, I'll pull out my Bowie knife and start trimming my nails with it.
Go ahead and roll your intimidate, but I will give you a bonus die in this situation.
Can I also try if he's gonna go that way, we could try some like good cop, bad cop. Yep. So I'll try a persuade right after. Be like, yeah, you don't want to make us go that route, right? Like I'm sure you're gonna be reasonable and just answer our questions.
All right. So yeah, the play then is with Mr. Wentworth's intimidate, and Ibrahim says, "Why would I share any information with you? I don't think it would be to my benefit and likely would just harm my interests."
Well, what are your interests?
They are my own.
Well, I'll turn to Joseph and say, you can learn an awful lot about a creature by looking at the insides.
Well, if it's anything like
you have a tail?
Biology, and you've dissected a frog
like
before, right?
Yeah. Dissected people. I wonder if he looks the same inside as a person does. You think this skin that makes him look like Ibrahim is something he's wearing?
It's either that or some type of other power, but I mean, you're right. The insides do always tell.
Would your finger grow back if I cut it off?
I think that's lizards, not snakes. But it is a worthy experiment. And
is this you coming in with your persuasive?
Yeah, I mean,
all the naming.
He's trying to persuade Wentworth to go through with it.
Right. Oh, I see.
I forgot who I was persuading here. Hold on.
We gotta learn something.
Yeah, well, what I was going to say is at this point, I was going to switch back and be like, you really just, like, what do you have to lose at this point other than, the parts that
matter?
Yeah, that he's going to take from you.
Oh, Joe, get that dagger.
Get
the dagger that Stanton was going to bury. It's still in here.
Yeah,
it should be on my table.
I'll grab it off the table. And I'll look pleadingly to Ibrahim again. Say, I don't know why you're making him do this.
Yeah.
All right, let's pause there for a moment and get over to Victor and Charles as they give chase to Adimu, who's gone a little ways ahead and has begun screaming about, "They're going to kill my husband. They're going to kill my husband." She's like ran past the medical canopy, right? And you see like Curtis Cooper, like, what the heck's going on, sort of thing. But we'll begin with a Constitution roll.
All right.
From all the parties in the chase here. See how Adimu does.
Thrill of the hunt's got my blood up.
Ooh.
Dang it.
Little speedy Victor there. So in these chases, your move rate remains unchanged if you have a success. So in the case of you and Adimu, you have whatever movement you normally have. In Victor's case, since he got an extreme success, he gets a 1 bonus to his move.
Okay.
So let's see here.
So how does this work? Do I actually need to, like, quote unquote, catch her to shoot her?
No, you could try to shoot her from
Is this just
whatever
keeping
distance.
her in sight?
Yeah, this is the sort of thing. Okay. And also, determining like who acts and that. So in the case of, why do they not put the move? Oh, okay. So Victor's moving at a 9. Looks like you're coming in at a 6. And Adimu is coming in at an 8. Okay, so you get what's called movement actions in a chase, and the difference between your relative speeds is how much faster she would move. So in this case, Adimu relative to you has 2 movement actions, So she could cover like twice as much distance, basically, accounting for your aging nature. But Victor has 9, so he's moving, 3 movement actions. This doesn't allow him to take like 3 shots. He could just move like 3 locations and grab a hold of her. But what kind of directive did you say give him?
Well,
like you want him to catch her, or
I
just get out there and shoot?
Part of the problem is I don't know quite like what my men know about these. Like, I think they've probably seen some weird stuff, but I just don't quite know with the situation. But man, I think Stanton would just gun down any.
So yeah, it is Victor that's going.
The real question is, does he believe the stories of Stanton and what he would do to someone who displeased him as part of the group, or he caught doing something that was obviously displeasing? As
I think what
he's heard that Stanton has skinned some of his men alive.
I think what I would go with is that there are traitors in our midst, Vincent, and he can take from that what he wants, but he would probably also recognize the fact that old Betsy, the elephant rifle, is out,
right?
and so he can defer from that what he wants.
So it looks like he's a little bit better with his handgun, so he will kind of go up just to get a clear shot next to this medical tent, which is like the next location away from yours. So he doesn't have anything between him and her, and he will try to take a shot. It's not quite point blank, but
okay.
Let's see how he does. He's got a hit. Does she throw herself down to put a penalty on it? I don't think so. Who's got a 45? Can somebody roll some 45 damage for me?
I have a 45, but I don't have it listed. So.
It's all right. I think it's 1d10 plus 2, right?
Yeah.
Sounds right.
I can roll it.
Okay.
If you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
45, 1d10 plus 2. That's right.
7.
Good thing you got that out of the way.
Hit location.
Fumble, huh? Yeah, where
as well.
Where is that?
If you highlight your token,
Oh, right. Okay.
maybe it won't actually work. I can roll Stanton's.
Let's see.
Did it pop up?
Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
Okay, I'll just roll from Stanton's then.
The left arm or hand.
Left hand.
So yeah, I figure she's like kind of.
Yeah, she's like rushing along, and you can see he wounds her because she clutches her hand to her body after that and cries out, and she's paused right there for a moment. So we'll take it to you, Mr. Stanton. You have 1 movement action. You could basically move up next to Victor, or you could take a shot from here if you'd like. We'll say you're likely within its basic range for your elephant gun. I will put in the fumble potential thing is that it's not a shot you would take for safety reasons, right? Just because you have stuff, no good backdrop, that sort of thing.
Yeah, in the middle of a camp.
It's just the Yemenis over there on the other side, but just so Stanton knows. Oh, so the backdrop is good after all.
At least I know where it's going.
Man. I think I'll take it from where as long as I have decent line of sight to her from where I am. I won't move up, and I'll just take the shot.
Okay.
Now the question is, what are 2?
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll just take the 1 because it is kind of at night. She was running.
Okay.
Might want to save for a follow-up shot. So we'll take the 1. No penalty, no.
Right.
Okay.
I don't think you're exhausted or anything.
Hard success.
Goodness gracious. Yeah, so that's, it kills a Demu outright.
Well, it seems to.
Seems to, yeah. She crumples to the ground there, but we'll pause one moment there and go back inside the tent. This is in the moments before you will hear the shots ring out outside. So Mr. Thompson has given the pitch that what harm could it do? You might as well tell us what we want to know. And you've taken a persuasive tactic. So Ibrahim says, well, can you assure me, Mr. Thompson, that I actually will be able to say my piece before Mr. Wentworth here has his way with me. And that if what I tell you changes your mind, that there is some ability for us to continue beyond this point without Mr. Wentworth again having to use his knife. And I suppose that you succeed on your oh yeah, of course.
Well, yeah, you have my assurances about Bartholomew. He'll, as long as you're giving us the information that we're seeking, that he'll have no reason to use the knife. But as far as continuation afterwards, that's more, I believe, Charles Stanton's call, since you're posing as one of his men. As well, that's the only assurances I can really give you.
He says, very well. Ignoring the questions about his physiology, he's going to land on the one like, how long have you been under the guise of Ibrahim? Right, I think you had asked him early on. And he's like, well, since Cairo. You see, me and the people like me had been sleeping for a long time, but the manner in which we were sleeping was programmed to wake us at this time to prepare for something that I don't know that you would understand, and I don't know that there would be any point in telling you. However, suffice it to say, Irem is an important place to us, just like it is to you.
Well, why is Irem important to your people?
It's a great well of knowledge.
So you're not interested in the treasure?
We know of no treasure in Irem beyond its immense knowledge. There are star maps there that exceed any known by your kind, and they will help us to understand the return of the old ones.
So why do this dishonestly? Why not just have approached us and asked to come along?
It gives you a look like you're unbelievably naive to think that would have worked.
Right. Yeah.
He says you've seen the way animals behave to other animals outside their species.
That's true. I can't deny it.
There's something in the genetics that compels them to behave a certain way. Even if I'd given my best pitch at the outset of all this, I don't think any of you would have heard it.
I'll admit that's true. You make my skin crawl. How many of you are infiltrated our camp here?
Adimu and I. You can give
white men
psychology roll.
Success.
Little by little, I'm raising that psychology.
100% trust the snake. Where have snakes gone wrong with us in the past?
I've never had any problem with them.
Well, you have a gut instinct not to trust him, and you don't know because there's a lot of psychology playing into it from your part where you know what he is, even though it is still beyond your belief because you're not like seeing it. You're seeing a trick of light and shadow.
Yeah.
And this supposed knowledge that Thompson got from somebody you don't even know, some professor locked in a dream somewhere, and all of these things don't make any sense in the rational world. So he's tripping you up because that behind every statement, behind the look in his eyes is so much unknown that anything, like how could you trust anything he says? But he says Adimu in him. Now, for Mr. Thompson's part, you cotton on to a flick of the eyes in one direction or another that makes you think he's trying to sell you a bill of goods.
Okay.
All right. I'm not going to say anything yet. I want to see what else I can catch. There is time to call him out afterwards. As I will ask though, what does he mean by preparation of preparation for the return of the old ones? Is that what he said? Old ones or old gods?
Yeah, old ones.
Yeah. What does he mean by that?
He says there are great beings who had mastery over this earth long, long ago, who have gone quiet, for lack of a better word, who will soon return.
Return from where?
From different phases, dimensions, long distances.
None of those words mean anything to me.
It's not too late. Our aim is the same, even though our goals might be different. We could travel in relative peace.
So what will you
and
do
you could learn more
once these old ones return, though?
It's at that stage that you hear first the 45 go off and then the boom from the elephant gun. And he says, I spoke too soon in the silence about some sort of peaceful thing. And we'll hop back outside the tent to where Victor and Charles come across their successful hunt, the down figure of a Demu who is undergoing a horrible change.
Oh, I wasn't expecting her
She's
to
finally
change.
becoming a woman.
And you thought the initial problem as you got up to her was that her screaming had drawn the attention of a few others, some of the Yemeni, and they had started to approach cautiously in a group because they're not armed at the moment, you know, and you have the gun, and they're just trying to make sense of why you just gunned down a woman in the middle of the camp, right?
I'd also be like anyone that's trying to gather around. I would be yelling like, stay back,
Right.
because Stanton has the belief that a snake can bite
Right.
even after it's dead. So I think I learned that they were snakes from Thompson and Wentworth, right? Yeah. So, you know.
And we have established sort of a back history that Rupert Merriweather had alluded to this.
Yeah.
So you get, a few others come, like Dr. Francis Morgan, pretty much anybody that's awake and didn't have a particular duty. Like you sent, Ray Flanagan off to have overwatch for the night. You had more scouts out than normal because you had just had a very tense interaction with a group of Bedouin, and you're still not sure how that's going to play out. So everybody obeys your command for the most part, but you do see that look of uncertainty amongst that Yemeni group. Nevertheless, your attention is drawn off that when you see, now she had taken to wearing the dress of Yemeni women, Muslim women, so she had been mostly fully covered except her face was, she just had like the head wrap at Ibrahim's advice when you had first come in country, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not to cause any problems. It had been one of the many arguments, probably just for your benefit to buy them as a couple, that you had seen them having, right? Like, I don't have to dress the way you tell me. You're not my dad.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so she was mostly wrapped up, but you see her face undergo this horrific change to where it becomes that of a fully revealed serpent person, looking all the world like the head of a snake, but, horribly. When you look at a snake, you can see it for an animal, and it has no personality in this, but there you can see that they've evolved or whatever caused them to be this way to have kind of a personality, however, still serpent. So this is worth a sanity roll. We'll just give it to you and Victor for now.
Success.
As I've stated before, I hunt snakes daily.
So is that a point or is that 0 in this
It's
case?
0, actually.
And where is it? Is it in backstory? Do I add serpent beings?
Yeah. Serpent folk, serpent person.
Encounters. 1.
Victor also takes it well and mutters something in Spanish. Apparently you've gathered a bunch of people who are not surprised. Shielded by the...
Maybe not like people becoming serpents, but I think
Right.
Stanton's crew, that might be kind of par for course based on what they were doing.
Yeah, so he utters some phrase in Spanish that demonstrates he's still shocked, just not taking a sand hit,
Now I'm wondering if I should fire the second round in hopes of destroying the head, or if I should just go, because I was going to have Victor like lop her head off and then take her out to the desert or have someone else drag her out to the desert to just bury her.
Right.
But now I'm wondering if I should just put the second round through it and hopefully evaporate it.
Yeah, you have a moment to do one of those actions, whichever you like, before it seems like, people are going to ignore the stay back thing and start pressing forward, mostly from these curious Yemeni worker onlookers, some of the herdsmen, things like that. You can give me a psychology roll while you're standing there looking at all of them, coming to grips with a serpent person in your midst.
Nope.
Yeah.
If they've already seen it, it's probably
they haven't seen it yet. You have them at a distance where it's night, so she's not under any torchlight exactly.
I'll go up, or if we are already up there with Vincent, or Victor. I'll put the second round through her head and hopefully evaporate the immediate evidence.
Okay, no need for a roll. Well, let's always check for fumble. Who knows what could happen?
Yeah, I was worried about that. Hard.
Okay. Nice. Yes, and that does the job, right?
So I'll start reloading.
Right.
And I'll Victor, Vincent, Victor, take find another man who's not currently occupied. Drag this thing into the desert and have it buried deep as you can anyway. Then come back, because I'm going to have a second corpse for you in a moment.
All right. So back in the tent, Mr. Thompson, Mr. Wentworth, you just heard the 2 shots ring out in the night, and Ibrahim's statement that apparently peace is now off the table. Hold on just a sec.
No. Yes, please.
I'm good.
Donkey shins.
Okay, you do see like a pained expression come across Ibrahim's features at what he assumes was the end of his co-conspirator's life.
Well, at least we know they have emotions. I'm afraid you're probably correct. That was probably the sound of your dear wife's departing.
Well,
I suppose we can expect much the same end for you. And I'm not altogether sad about that.
Then I guess this concludes our short conversation. And he looks resigned. And then there's the other shot that rings out, the one that destroys Adinu's head.
Okay.
And some more commotion in the camp. What do you guys do from that stage?
I'm going to talk with Bartholomew and off to the side, just quietly tell him that there are still others, as he was lying to you about them being the only ones. The eyes gave it away. But if he's saying that they joined in Cairo, everybody who joined there should be suspect. I guess maybe with the exception of Stanton, but to hide your cover, would you really not kill one of your own?
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Although he did say the words, so maybe we have to. I thought you did last time.
Did.
Yeah.
Yep, he did.
Well, I think it was sort of paraphrased. We could go either way where you said them, and it's like, yes, all my men know it. Go ahead and say it, Ibrahim. So whichever way you want to go, yeah.
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 I didn't say the words. I said, where did you know those from? Or because Merriweather liked to have us say them. And then I go, well, you know the routine, Ibrahim, say them.
Yeah.
So at the very least, I didn't know Ibrahim, or I was selling him down the river if I am a snake person, but I didn't say him.
I think there needs to be, I think we need to first isolate Stanton, have him say the words since I don't remember him saying them. And then from there, we take a night or a day, lock down the camp, everybody inside, and one by one, not in a group, as that way they're not scattering like chickens. And then we rid ourselves of this problem.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to take something like that because we don't know who all we can trust. So we'll start with Stanton.
As I think it would be a good idea to, if we're not, to rearm ourselves. I know that I was in the medical tent, so I don't think I would have my rifle with me.
Well, go grab it. I'll watch him. I've got my Colt Peacemaker.
As I don't know if the knife will do anything against him or not, but he did seem, maybe he was worried about it, so I would say keep that handy as well. And with that, Travis, I'll leave the tent, hurrying along to go grab my rifle.
Okay.
This is how people die in horror movies. It all seems reasonable. I'm going to go get weapons, but I'm going to leave Bartholomew alone with a dangerous serpent folk.
So yeah, he says, how much really do you know about Mr. Stanton?
Very little. I know he's good at his job, which is what we hired him to do. I know he hunts big game. He has little tolerance for foolishness. I know he's quick on the trigger.
How sweet. Thank you.
But my mentor worked with him in the past and recommended him, and that means he's a trustworthy man. At least as far as we pay. I know a lot more about him than I know about you. What happened to the real Ibrahim and the Demu?
He says, amongst my people, we are what you would consider to be scientists in your day and ours, and we had developed a way to pass information from, grandfather to father to son by consuming our dead, and we gain their knowledge and can inhabit their likeness, and that's the method by which I became Ibrahim.
You ate him?
Can feel his love for Mr. Stanton. It would be a shame if that were to be lost. I honored him.
You ate him. Is that what you're telling me right now?
Yes. If you want to use such crude terms, but certainly you humans have your own odd traditions with eating.
Well, this one doesn't.
Dang it. None of you are religious.
I know it's pretty damn weird to eat people.
But Mr. Stanton was in Cairo for a long time. There was ample opportunity. I would not trust many if I were you.
Why didn't you eat Mr. Stanton?
Who says we didn't?
Yeah, you make a good point.
Make a power roll for me.
Okay, where are you? Power.
As to defeat. Hold on before you roll. Let me... Oh,
Too
you rolled
late.
it.
Yeah.
Let me check Ibrahim's power. Dang it. Accidentally made a new character. Their name generation is so ridiculous. Okay. Very powerful. But you succeed. You have the higher skill. Breaks the tie there. So there's nothing to remark on it other than for a moment, there's the suspicion is accurate that he's conveying, right? It just didn't land with that little extra oomph he was trying to get it. But you're not even aware that had occurred. But he does nevertheless sow the seed in your mind that anybody that was in Cairo, this could have happened to.
Yeah, and anybody that joined us, like Thompson said, which didn't Arbogast meet up with me in Cairo?
No, he, you had missed a lot of opportunities to spot him on the whole train ride up here, ever since you left London, because he was ordered to, but he did pass through Cairo, and he didn't make himself known until you guys had gotten onto the peninsula in Al-Hodeida.
But there were snakes on the boat with you.
Yep, and Jackson Elias was in Cairo. Okay, we're going to have to check everybody.
How long does it take for me to go gather that rifle?
Not too long. I was just about to pop back over to Mr. Stanton, as he has sent Victor off to go find another person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're standing there and working this crowd who... you don't know, like, Dr. Francis Morgan well. Curtis Cooper has interviewed you a little bit. He's hobbled out of the medical tent, still looking pale from his illness that Demo had been treating him for. But, he's they're all looking at, like, what is the explanation that could happen, that could cover this story that has just occurred. A woman flees from the tent. And you just gun her down and then mutilate her afterwards. Jackson Elias makes an appearance.
Well, let me just say that cocaine is a hell of a drug. Sorry.
Jackson Elias makes an appearance, but it's Whiteman, of course, who's the most vocal. And he's like, are you going to explain any of this to us, Mr. Stanton? But actually, it's at that point that Jackson Elias pops in and he's like, hey, I know it may seem odd what Mr. Stanton's doing, but take it from personal experience. When he's just shooting for random reason, there's sometimes a good explanation. And he gives you a look like there is one, right? Yeah, so there's kind of that little back and forth going on out there. but they're still at a distance,
Yeah, I'll just stick with the story that Mr. Whiteman needs to hear, which is traitors in the midst, Whiteman. And I'll close the breech on the freshly reloaded elephant gun.
Yeah, the group of Yemeni that were there take that as a signal to sort of, fade into the background. And nobody else wants to get shot, but Curtis Cooper has that look on his face, very similar to when Thaddeus Grunwald was shot in the head of this is too horrific for me to have imagined,
He's catching sand points left and right.
But Dr. Francis Morgan sort of takes him under his wing and says, well, it's none of our business. It is, but, I'm sure they'll get it sorted in time. Best not to get in anybody's way when the blood is up. But pretty soon you're just left there with Jackson, and eventually Victor comes back with one of the unnamed Stanton Inc. members to take this body off to the desert, the two of them. Is that what you want?
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, I'll reemphasize,
bury her deep. And if she's still twitching when you dig that hole, cut her up.
Yes, senor.
No markers, nothing to reveal her location, and don't walk past those damned Yemeni with her.
Okay. So yeah, they strike a path that kind of leads them to where your Overwatch is, more in that direction and away from where the Yemeni are. And so you're left there basically looking at this blood-soaked spot of sand, and Jackson, with the air of a man who's trying to calm like a unknown dog, is sort of taking a few cautious steps towards you, and he's like, why do I get the feeling that things got interesting like they did in Peru?
I'll kind of...
Because he didn't see any serpent folk or anything like that.
Yeah, I'll kind of face him. I won't raise the gun towards him. If I'm able to, I will say the words.
Okay.
And I'll...
Now, repeat after me, Mr. Elias.
And I'll say them if I'm able to.
Yes, you are able to.
Okay.
Let me see here. I'm just going to see if he has a little bit of Cthulhu mythos. I'm going to roll it to see if he's ever heard anything like this. Oop, that's the wrong one. Why did you roll power? Or wait, where am I?
Some of us obtain mythos in different ways through that some would call unnatural, Travis.
There we go. No, it's not his thing. But nevertheless, he repeats the words without any problem, in an American accent.
Glad to have you on board, Mr. Elias. We got snakes in our midst.
I am not sure what I'm on board with here. You just had me say something that sounds like, I don't know what it sounds like, but apparently I'm included in something now. But easy, Mr. Stanton. I was there the last time we were shooting up the camp, and like I said, it was a good reason.
Did I ever shoot up a camp? I shot a boy in a field.
It was after Dr. Andrews had joined and the
okay.
fat worm had escaped, and he was like, why is he... Dr. Andrews had said, is this really the best way to handle that?
Anyway, no time for lengthy conversation, Mr. Elias. You're with me. I hope you're armed.
Yeah, he carries his 45.
And I'll start heading back towards my tent.
Okay.
Now, in the tent, I did want to do an experiment with that dagger.
I'll give you a brief moment before Mr. Thompson comes back with his rifle.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask him what was special about the dagger and show it to him.
Okay.
See if it makes him nervous.
Well, he explains, it doesn't make him nervous, but he explains that appears to be, what Thompson had told you, an enchanted blade. It's useful in rituals.
Okay.
And you carry one at your belt as well.
Because I had gotten the idea from Thompson, who got the idea from Mueller, that this was useful in killing lizard people specifically, right? So I'll just give him a little nick and see what happens.
Well, he bleeds like normally.
Is it normal colored blood?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he just says, ouch.
Okay.
And he says, Mr. Wentworth, I know I may seem strange or alien to you, but we share more in common than you might think, especially considering to who we return. We are children of this earth. In fact, I am more a child of this earth than you are. If you knew your true ancestry, if you knew that there are those who manipulated you to become the force that you are. See, that's why you were a problem for us serpent kind. You evolved at a rate we couldn't match. Some wanted to destroy you, and they took to worshiping false gods, betrayers of our true faith. And those of us just went to sleep and waited for a time when the old ones could return and we could set matters right.
See, the problem, and what do I call you?
Well,
do you have a name?
Ibrahim would be fine.
Problem, Ibrahim, is that you're a snake person who eats people to gain their memories and knowledge. And I don't see how I can square that between us.
Well, simple minds.
I don't actually have any real desire to hurt you. I hope you know that.
But you do. We tried peaceful means. We tried to coexist.
With me?
With your kind.
Well,
and you're a representative of them.
You know, maybe it's different for your people, but we're all individuals out here, so...
Well, we've been awake for a while now, and we've seen the same story as the one that was played out in our time.
Well, I guess you'll know how it ends then.
Right. With the death of everything I love.
Yes, very sad.
Mr. Thompson comes in the tent at that stage with his rifle.
Okay. I tried to cut him with this dagger, but just looked like normal blood, so I don't think it's going to help us find out who's who.
You have a few moments before Stanton and Jackson Elias arrive.
It can be useful other ways. What day of the week is it, Travis?
Oh, good question. I believe it's Thursday. Is that what our calendar says for March 17th?
All right.
Friday.
It's Friday?
Well, you could give me a luck roll that perhaps this has occurred after the stroke of midnight.
Of course it is.
Let's see what that... You got a big fumble percentage now.
Nope, just a failure.
Oh, goodness, one.
All right, well, I
watch him succeed his luck roll at the end of the session.
Yeah. As I will... I guess take up in the corner with rifle readied on the entryway, and I mean just let Bartholomew know is whoever comes in is then let's again bring them in, isolate them, have them say the words, and then from there, if they're on our side, we should again isolate, kind of lock down and isolate the camp, and just go one by one. Anybody that runs gets a bullet, since it seemed I would imagine it's worked since we only heard 3, but
anyone that runs is a serpent folk. Anyone that doesn't run is a well-disciplined serpent folk.
That's the way of it right now.
Okay, so Stanton and Jackson Elias walk into the tent. And you see there Wentworth and Mr. Thompson. They have bound up Ibrahim, or what was once Ibrahim, to a chair. And everybody looks at everybody.
So
you were doing okay, I see what you're... No, Travis was pointing at Brandon. I was like, what's that mean? He's referring to your damn AI picture.
All right. Did he say anything important?
Yeah.
He did.
He said a few things, that he and his people are searching for Irem as well, for the...
Thought you said important.
knowledge that they might gain from it, and that there's definitely others.
As before we go on, though, and I can't remember, did I say the words, or did who said the words to Stanton last time?
We didn't. We said there was like a weird phrase, and then
no, one of you guys said the weird phrase.
Yeah, well, I know Stanton, you both have said that. Thompson and Wentworth have uttered the words, I believe, in each other's company.
Okay. Well, and I'll say the words as well. So I just got to find my copy.
Lajurama.
As Elias said them too, so.
As we have not yet heard you say them.
I heard you say them. But everybody forgot.
It's okay. I think that I'm dealing with two unreliable narrators because Mulder never said anything about the dagger being for the serpents either. So,
Yeah.
Well, that was more just an assumption that maybe it would.
Right. That's fine. I usually try to let those go because they're fun, and that's kind of how it works, right?
It fits Thompson's character because he also thinks Mueller pushed him out of a window. So, I think it fits with Thompson's character completely. I'll ignore Thompson even hinting that I need to say the words.
Oh, I should rewind a little moment. In the way your spell works, you would know that it's after sunset. So if you were to cast it at some point in this time, it would last until the next sunset.
Oh.
So it doesn't have to be the day, right? It's sunset to sunset, basically.
Okay, yeah. So
did you want to...
Yeah, if we could rewind a minute. Is that's what I had wanted to do before anybody else comes, or before Stanton and Elias came in.
Okay. Yeah, I think it only took a few rounds, so you should have plenty of time. Although
you have Wentworth,
you do have Wentworth there, and there was some chanting involved and whatnot. So,
well, I figured.
How many magic points did you want to invest?
Probably trust me at this point. What was the breakdown on that?
I think every magic point invested gives you a D6 potential armor or temporary hit points, however you want to look at them.
I don't really use them for too much else. And how long do we have until we...
Magic points...
Sorry, go ahead.
They come back at a rate of 1 an hour.
Okay. I'll use 12.
Yeah, so deduct 12 magic points and roll 12d6. And I think there's always a sand loss as you buy deeper and deeper.
Yeah, it's 1d4.
Right. How much?
Oof,
40.
That was a big hit.
Yeah, still, it's just under the amount that would ever put you into, temporary insanity. You might go indefinitely insane this way. So, yeah, every time you cast this or do this, you get sort of a clue as to what's going on, and it's waking you up to a wider reality that, somebody like Dr. Andrews is intimately familiar with, is that you're not actually blocking anything with any force. You're just changing the pathways by which that force travels. So if somebody injures you, all that goes out to a different place. What the nature of that place is, who knows? Maybe that's where somebody, inexplicably dies sometimes,
Another you in an alternate dimension.
Yeah. But you can resist it because it's still early on and you don't know the truth of it, nor do you fully buy into the mythos. And so it's just this unsettling feeling that you get. But yeah, you are well armored for the day. And take a few shots from that elephant rifle.
All right, so we're all back in the tent.
Yeah.
All right. So,
well, let me pause and give Wentworth a moment to react to
him casting a spell.
I think it's 3 or 4 rounds of chanting.
It's 5 rounds.
5 rounds. So, maybe that comes out to close to a minute.
And this is loud, or is it under his breath, or what?
He can do it a reasonable speaking voice, so it wouldn't travel much beyond the tent, but you can hear it clearly. He's speaking it as he memorized it, and it sounds like sort of like a chant, like you might hear in a church,
Yeah, so I'll be like, Thompson, what are you doing? So I kind of
he holds up a finger until
back up a little bit so I can have both of them in my vision. I'll be, Thompson, what are you doing? And do I recognize the language?
I don't know. What did you
I just
memorize
speak English and Arabic, so...
No.
Okay, so maybe... All right, so I'll ask him what he's doing. Thompson, what are you doing?
Yeah, I've got to continue, so I'll, just like you said, hold the finger up like 1 second. But when I finish, I'll tell him that I don't put much faith in this stuff, but it was something that I had read in a book. It's supposed to offer protection, right? And then I'll make the sign of the cross and be like, if God wills it, I guess.
He accidentally makes the Vormish sign.
No, I've been practicing that too.
Dang it. Okay, so now we can get back up to speed if you guys are finished there. I should mention that I don't know if I was abundantly clear, but I thought I had mentioned during the whole process of learning that spell that you don't have to think of it as like just a use spell. It's on like a target, yourself or others. So
yeah, as in this case, I was gonna try it on me. I mean, I can't cast it on more than just one person at a time, though, right?
Yeah, it's just one target at a time.
Okay, yeah, I was just gonna use it for some self-preservation. I don't think we have enough time unless we did have enough time for 2.
No, probably not. I figure the 5 rounds is stretching the gap before Stanton and Elias arrive. So yeah, we'll get us back to that point. He's asked if he said anything of importance, and you guys relayed stuff of interest, although perhaps not of importance.
Yeah, Stanton will start hand waving the IREM importance type stuff.
The gobbledygook.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just continue to say what I was saying, but I'll get to that they apparently joined us and replaced the real Ibrahim and Dimu in Cairo. And Stanton, I don't know how close you were to Ibrahim, but he also says that the way they replaced people is by eating them to gain their knowledge and memory.
And likeness.
And likeness.
Well, then it looks like he knows what's about to happen. Don't you, Ibrahim?
That I do, Mr. Stanton.
All right. Drag him outside.
As there are others in here as well.
Yeah, so we need to determine who amongst our entire accompaniment is also one of these people. And so far, he hasn't been...
Do all you bloody do is talk like a bunch of women. Drag him outside.
Well, we're not going to do that yet. Just hang on. We need to find a way.
Stanton will face Wentworth.
Uh-oh. The showdown. I should have prepared a special board for this.
Yeah, I'll just, we're not going to do that yet. We need to find a way to question him, to figure out who else is in our encampment that infiltrated. If he joined us in Cairo, anybody that joined since then is suspect. But he also made mention that his people woke up a long time ago, or that they've had plenty of time. I don't know if he was just trying to intimidate me or something, but it could be anybody, even people who joined us before Cairo. So we need to find out who all we can trust and who we can't trust.
Really thinking Stanton just shoots him. Not Wentworth.
Yeah.
Right.
Should clarify.
Maybe with the second barrel.
Well, that's also on the list just because he was talking like that. But
you can do that, but since I think we have a difference of opinion in the outcome, a contest here, we would give those around you an opportunity to see it coming, right? Which is handled in this system by, say, if you're in a Mexican standoff situation, you can guess who's going to fire first with a psychology roll. So you guys could see him, summing up the resolve to execute somebody, if that's what you want to do.
Yeah. I don't care. This man is was my friend. This thing murdered my friend. It's going to get what's coming to it.
and I'll cock one of the hammers. So they can roll their psych roll if they want, or their
go ahead.
Dex.
He's bluffing.
Do something.
It's not just a bluff.
You can spend that one.
No, I mean, he's going to die anyways, but...
Did you do your psychology roll?
No, I mean, I don't need to, like, I think I can assume what Stanton's going to do.
Okay.
And
I'll just still try to, like, talk him out of it, but I'm not going to try and stop him. I'm just...
And I'd prefer
trying
to
to
not
think more
get blood
long-term.
on the sheets.
Let me check the loyalty axis here and see where Jackson Elias falls in all of this. Oh, goodness. I dislike it when you do that. He doesn't see
As
it coming either.
one suggestion is maybe we get him out into the desert so it's not happening in camp. The last thing
Well,
that we
you see,
want is
that would have been
an
a possibility,
uprising.
but then Wentworth and Thompson tried to talk to Stanton like a bunch of women, so it's too late. Stanton's eye's up.
Thompson and Elias both
Or not Wentworth, sorry. Yeah.
don't realize that this is even going to happen, so there's no opportunity for him to do it. So it does happen here if you're going to give up your psychology roll to even see it coming.
Oh, yeah. No,
Okay.
I just totally assumed it was.
Yeah, go ahead, check for just a fumble.
Very least you can cover your ears.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right, so you're not going to take the opportunity to stop him, so
No, not like physically. I'll try and say, don't do
yeah. But he's committed, so you
Let's see if I
Fire.
fumble. I've been rolling hards tonight.
very good, Ibrahim.
Does that?
Kills him outright.
So center mass,
Yeah.
and if hopefully he undergoes the same change.
Yes, he does. A few moments after, I mean, he's tied to a chair there, so shoots him right center mass. It's an elephant gun, so it does the damage you might expect.
Cut him in half.
You hear more commotion once the sound, well, maybe you guys don't hear it so well right away, but more people are responding out in the camp to these gunshots. So, but anyhow, yeah, he starts to undergo a change where he was less covered up than Adimu. So he was wearing, he was in his shirt sleeves. So he took his jacket off earlier in the night. So you can see this change going in his hands where they elongate, and his face, right, completely changes into that of a serpent person. So I'll take that sanity roll.
Oh.
Does he have a tail?
Yes.
Do
That's
I
what
know of
preserved
any?
is. Yes, he's got a.
Do I know of any spells that use lizard people tails?
No, not yet.
We should probably just preserve it in case. It's probably valuable.
But
Jackson did good.
as he's undergoing his transformation, if he didn't get knocked over from the blast, I'll knock the chair over.
Right.
And after the transformation's complete, I'll put one through his head to destroy that.
Okay. Yeah, and when the sound is back and you guys can sort of hear each other, Jackson Eliza said, so there was a good reason after all. I don't know how you sniff this out, Mr. Stanton, but 2 steps ahead of me again.
Thank those two over there. Apparently they're having dreams.
Dreams, you say? Well, that's an interesting story. Maybe when we're not in the middle of dealing with whatever this is, you'll tell me some more about it. Mr. Wentworth, Mr. Thompson.
Yes. We have a lot more work ahead of us, though. We've got a large assortment of people that joined us at all different times.
Elias is fine. He said the words.
When Victor hopefully pokes his head in soon, but if not, I'll go out, find one of my men who isn't preoccupied, and have them. Oh man, I can't bring all of them in, so we might have to do the rounds in person on them. So yeah,
I have to go inspect my men. They were out of my sight most of the time in Cairo. Then we'll inspect the rest of the tents.
You're
Yeah,
still
I'll,
outside the circle, Mr. Stanton.
I am.
I'll leave and go inspect my people.
Okay.
As I'll follow
Starting with the
Mr.
ones that I'm
Wentworth.
suspicious about, right? So it would be Arbogast, and then I'll go straight to Whiteman and his group.
Okay.
All right.
I suggest you and Thompson don't leave each other's sight.
So, Mr. Stanton, you likely have, I don't know if you're the kind of person who likes to have somebody watching over you or not. So that depends on whether or not you would have somebody like nearby. I guess it was Victor, since he was the first to respond at that time. And he's gone off on a duty. But some men have gone to sleep if they weren't given a task. And then there are those that are awake. So in this case, Marco Ramiro and Ray Flanagan are out at their machine gun doing, taking turns, who's sleeping, who's up. And we'll say there's another one who is up keeping an eye on the encampment.
All right.
Just one of the unnamed ones. And he says the words, if you request, no problem.
Yeah.
So, but the rest would be, we'll say, asleep.
Then I'll go to the ones that are sleeping next.
Okay.
And I will
start working your way through them.
Yeah.
Okay. And now, Mr. Wentworth and Mr. Thompson, you go to Arbogast first.
Yeah, just because it's the easiest place to start.
He had been released from his duties, or banished by Mr. Thompson the previous day, so he had returned more towards your area.
Okay.
Not really like banished in a mean way, but he said, I don't think I'll need your help anymore. I'm feeling quite right. And so, yeah, he's around where you would have set up your cot or your tent at this stage, and he's in there reading when you come in.
Arbogast.
Yes, sir.
Some strange things have taken place.
I've been trying to mind my own business. There's a bit of gunfire. Makes me nervous.
We have traitors in our group.
I should say those guys aren't asleep, probably. They're in half dress, right?
Yeah.
But you're still working your way one by one.
It makes me easier for them. I just have them line up and go down the list.
Right. Yeah. Anyhow.
So, stand up, if you please, and repeat after me.
Okay, sir.
And
May I ask what this is about?
I'll explain after.
Okay.
And then I'll say the phrase.
And he says it without any issue, except in an English accent. You don't know if that's an issue.
That's enough of an issue.
I'll be like, excellent. You're a good man, Arbogast.
Oh, well, thank you. That was one of the easier tasks I've had to complete, sir.
I'm glad to have you on my side. So, as to what's going on, lizard people have infiltrated the camp, and they look just like normal people, and they take on a person's likeness by eating that person, thereby also gaining their memories and knowledge, and they're unable to say that phrase. So,
did I have Victor say the words? I don't think I did.
No, not yet.
Was it Victor or was it Marco that you said the words?
It's Marco.
He says...
not Marco. It was a random one, right? That was up late on Night Watch. So,
well, Mr. Wentworth, I've gotten fond of you, sir, if you don't mind my saying. So I hope that my sister goes easy on you when we get back there. But I don't know if we're so close that we should play such a game in the desert. Whatever are you speaking about, sir?
Yeah,
I've gotten blasted by the heat.
Yeah, I know how crazy it sounds. You're just going to have to take my word for it. But that's what the gunshots you've been hearing tonight are. They found 2 of them in Stanton's camp, Ibrahim and his wife, and I'm sure there are more. So, arm up. You're coming with me and Thompson. We're going to go put some other people through the same test.
Well, very well. I suppose it'll be worth a good laugh when we're all done, sir. So who's your next target?
So I have suspicions about, Whiteman because I don't like him, but also about Sala?
Yeah, Dr. Sala.
Well, Stanton that'll be in Stanton's camp. So I'll just start with Whiteman and his crew.
Okay. Yeah, and him and his 2 biologists, along with the people from Miskatonic, they've clustered together after all these gunshots, and they've armed up, but not in like a real combat preparedness sort of way, but just as they don't know what's going on, but people are being shot, and they don't want to, be unarmed when it happens. So everybody who has a personal arm, now has them like visible or perhaps even in their hands. So you kind of see this with Bo Whiteman, who kind of lazily, holds his pistol down by his side, and he's ranting at the rest of the group from the States about that somebody better come down here and start explaining stuff.
Stanton's gone mad.
I don't think either. Like, should we leave? That sort of type of discussion that gets clipped off as you approach.
Mm-hmm.
And then he looks at you and he's like, Mr. Wentworth, come to tell us what all this is about?
Yes, there are traitors in our camp. People have infiltrated with the intent to sell us out. And a couple of those infiltrators were found and dealt with.
Well, I'd say the first place you want to look is Mr. Stanton himself. I know that man's color when I first saw him.
This might be the first time I've ever agreed with you on something, Mr. Wyman. But please repeat after me.
What is this? Let's see where he falls in the loyalty axis.
Yeah, I'll tell it to his men too.
The
all
biologist.
I need is for you to repeat this phrase, and then I can give you the whole breakdown.
So, God, like hand on the Bible, do not twitch while you're before or after.
So, in that cluster, as I said, was Dr. Francis Morgan and Curtis Cooper and Nigel Stedford, and they were all around talking. And you say that phrase, and none of them seem to respond to it in any way. But he's like, Mr. Wentworth, you have to get serious with me. We are both Americans, and we just don't say what people tell us to say. So what is the reason? I want to know it first before
I'll raise my rifle towards him.
Yeah. So I'll hold up my hand to Thompson, but I'm hoping that Whiteman sees how serious this is based on that, and I'll say I can't understand it exactly myself, but this is a phrase that apparently these infiltrators are unable to say. So I just need you to say it one time.
Now, none of this is making any sense. Put your gun down, boy. You don't look like you have the metal to use it, and we're all armed here, too. What, are you going to start a war in the middle of the...
Yeah, so I'll take my hand away from Thompson's gun, and I'll put my hand on my own pistol. And I'll turn to the others and say, everybody needs to say this. So
No, you all be quiet. You think this through, Mr. Wentworth. If you have your man there, just shoot me because I won't say some rhyme, some children's rhyme. What do you think happens to the rest of them? You give us the reason.
If you don't, I'll kill you.
Oh, a lot of talk. The only person I'm worried about shooting before they think it through fully is Mr. Stanton.
So I'll turn to, like you said, who was there? Dr. Morgan?
Francis Morgan, Curtis Cooper, Nigel Stedford, which are watching the back and forth with great interest.
Now, Curtis Cooper and Morgan both came from the beginning with me.
Yeah, from like they were on the RMS Mauritania.
Okay. So I'll turn to Curtis and say, Mr. Cooper, I need you to say this phrase.
And he's like, he repeats it.
Dr. Morgan, if you please.
He repeats it as well. And then, Bo Whiteman, he throws his hands up and he's like, what are you? Are we countrymen or what?
Mr.
Canadian
Stedford.
infiltrators is what it is. You're right. Our northern neighbors are amidst us.
Mr. Stedford, if you please.
I'll say your words, Mr. Wentworth, but I do have to say Mr. Whiteman has a point. If you're going to be doing this to the whole camp, how do you think it's going to happen when we haven't traveled together for so long?
Well,
that's why Stanton brought 15 good men.
After this, I'll explain the 100% truth of what's going on, and then you'll understand.
He says the words, and all eyes turn to Whiteman and his two geologists.
I feel
and
like
he says,
missing an opportunity.
He holsters his gun, and he's like, well, say 'em, boys. Looks like we're a long way from home. And they say the words, and then Whiteman says the words, but he says them with such disdain that he's like, now I think I'm due my explanation, sir.
Mr. Whiteman, I love the way you said those words. The truth is, ancient race of lizard people have infiltrated the camp. They're searching for IRM for their own nefarious purposes. They infiltrate and take the form of humans by eating them to gain their knowledge. And we've killed 2 of them tonight.
Aim to kill a third.
But we're certain that there's more in the camp. And I went first to the people I suspected least so that I would have good people on my side as we go through the rest of the camp. So yours is the first group I came to.
Give me a psychology roll, Mr. Thompson and Mr. Wentworth.
After he says the words, though, I'll because he's the one that's always asking for whiskey, right?
No, that's
that was the other one. That's
geologist. Right. He's your real friend on the loyalty axis because you keep feeding him whiskey. But Mitchell Brown,
yeah, is all. I will pull out a flask though and pass it around to the. I mean, it's a tense moment, but everything gets better with drinks.
Because you were just watching, you can see them sort of looking at Mr. Whiteman in disbelief that he would speak so freely in such a moment because they were obviously nervous and were immensely relieved when they could say these words. And Mitchell Brown is even more relieved to have some alcohol go around. Is anybody going to push their psychology roll? Or
I will.
I'll push it.
Or use luck, however. I mean, not in Thompson's.
No, I'll push it. I'll see if I can get a read. Can you luck on a push?
No, not once you pushed it.
Yeah, it's like either or.
All right, I successed.
Okay, you can see, Mr. Thompson, that there's a recognition to this talk of serpent people in Bo Whiteman's face. And he says, well, then, when you're done with your spill, is that all it was? You could have said so from the beginning.
I'm sorry, Mr. Whiteman. Does that
Such a simple explanation, gentlemen.
Does that not sound like the craziest thing you've ever heard?
But, you have like a dislike for the man, and you still have this thing about the fact that a serpent person evidently kind of intimidated you, or at least was trying to intimidate you into accepting Mr. Whiteman along on this expedition back on that Mauritania. And so while Thompson, cottons onto a specific thing you say, it's this mention of serpent folk that sort of, there's a flash of recognition by Bo Whiteman. You don't see that, but sort of his nonchalance about it and whatnot, maybe it's a more complicated than just rooting out the serpents.
He says that?
No.
Oh, okay.
Because you don't know what this consortium is, but the way that Andrews has hinted about it is that it's like, it's not just serpents placed here and there. They got a whole network of people that work for them and do their bidding. So maybe people doing serpent folks bidding within this expedition is more complicated than just the serpents. Yeah. So that's what's coming in with your fumble is like a deeper suspicion that, oh, he said the words, but what does that mean, right?
Yeah.
So bouncing over to you, Mr. Stanton, they're bleary and armed and, taking up positions trying to figure out if you're being attacked from outside initially. Yeah. But now they've figured that you're dealing with something in a manner that they understand. Yeah. Shooting privately in your tent. And so they just have a look like, we want to know what's going on, but we're not going to ask a direct question. We're waiting for orders. So they've kind of lined up out their tents because they have a little orderly row of them, and they're just waiting for you to go down the list. And briefly, all of them say the words.
Okay. After I get 2 of them, I'm going to give those 2 orders to go check Victor and whoever he took with him.
Okay.
And if he can't say the word, first off, treat them as hostile. If he cannot say the words, shoot him. Immediately, shoot them both if they can't say the words.
I'm stuttering a little bit, but Stanton gives a proper order there on that. And then he'll just go down the list so they can all say it. I'll order the rest of them
to go out, find the men that are currently on duty, go in pairs. They too will likewise be considered hostile. Have them repeat the words. If they succeed, all is good. Return to camp and set up a perimeter facing inward. We're going to be doing this. It's going to be a long night, boys.
Yes, sir. And they go off to follow their orders, and you suppose probably also what's in your sphere of influence with people who hadn't popped out of their tents were what's at the medical tent, which is Sala overlooking Matvey Vanya.
Yep.
And so we will close the session for today as you turn to go find out their true nature. And thanks for playing, guys.
Thank you.
They're lizard people, otherwise you wouldn't have ended it right there. We know for a fact now. I'm going there shooting.
Blah, blah, blah.
Metagame.
Yeah, let's see. This has been a Deathwatch production. Thank you for listening.